Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to Planet Cryos. Crystal Disk Info, or Crystal Disk Mark, an open source software that allows you to check your hard drive or your solid state drive for its health and performance. So in my last video, I did say that I was going to show you how to download and utilize the Crystal Disk Info and Crystal Disk Mark. Basically, it's just a piece of software that you can download and check the health and performance along with many other things that I will show you with either your mechanical hard drives, whether they be the 3.5 inch or the 2.5 inch size, or the SSDs, whether they be the 2.5 inch SATA drives or the M.2 form factor, either if it's SATA or NVMe. So, yes, I want to go ahead and get over to my computer and show you exactly how to download this and save it either to a USB or you can keep it right on your computer if you want. So let's get going. So I'm going to try and do a miniature me in the corner here. And so what you want to do is go and type in Google, open up your web browser, Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or whatever you have. Type in Crystal Disk Info or Crystal Disk Mark. Now right here I got Crystal Disk Mark. It's all one word. Hit enter, and one of the first selections you should see something like this. Crystal Disk Mark and Crystal Do World. It's the EN. So just make sure up here it's the correct crystaldiskmark.info, and that's going to be your site that you want to go to. Go ahead and click on that, and you should see a page roughly like this. Now these downloads can you can have anime downloads if you want. I think it's ridiculous, but you can do that nevertheless. So what you're going to want to find here is you can either go to the download section. These are quick downloads. So I believe that they used to have what's called portable versions. It doesn't seem like they have them anymore. I've checked certain downloads, so this kind of has to be installed in your computer versus a portable version you could just have on your desktop or on a thumb drive. You can still put it on a thumb drive, and I do, but it has to be installed versus just a portable version. So anyway, right at the top it says quick downloads. You can see various downloads here. We're going to start with the Crystal Disk Mark right here, and just go ahead and click on that once. Don't worry about anything else that's on the page or what it's looking like off the screen. Oh no, it's on the screen. It looks like down here it downloaded down in the left hand corner. And what I generally like to do is I don't like to open it right here. That's just me. What I do is I usually come to my folders and come to the download section, and you can see it has been downloaded right here, and you can see the latest version is 8.0.4. I did have my last video, I did have the latest version. Looks like they haven't updated this in quite some time. So that's all good. So what you can do is you can actually take yourself a thumb drive, connect it via USB, and then take this entirety. Sometimes these have folders that you have to extract. So if it did, you'd have to highlight this, come up here to where it would say extract files, and extract the files to the actual thumb drive. Since it does not, hang on a second, I'm going to grab a thumb drive. All right, so I just plugged in my thumb drive, and I had a few things on it which I had to delete. It's a brand new drive. I just had to delete some SanDisk files on there. So once you have this downloaded, go ahead and you have your thumb drive in there, because I like it portable, right? You want it portable, so you can put, if you only have one PC and that's the only thing you'll ever have it on, you can install it on your PC. I just don't like to have my PC cluttered if possible, so I like to keep these on thumb drive, because I have multiple PCs of myself, or for myself, and I also take care of a couple other PCs outside of my own home. So what you're going to want to do is double click on that .exe file, and that's going to launch it. And you have to accept the terms and conditions, the licensing agreement. So if you want it on a thumb drive, do not check this box where it says create the desktop shortcut, because we don't want a desktop shortcut, because we're going to be removing the thumb drive so we can put it on another computer. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense to put a shortcut on here. So we're going to leave that unchecked. Now, if you are putting it on your PC and that's the only PC you have, go ahead and check that if you want to make a shortcut. And it says ready to install. It looks like it's going to want to put it. Usually it gives you a spot where you can put this. For some reason it's not. I don't know why. Usually, because this is only giving us a destination of the D drive. Not sure why it's doing that right now, but we're going to go ahead and go with that. Sometimes it'll give you a browse or a browser section, usually browse, and you can go ahead and select the drive that you want to install it on. But since it is the D drive we do want to install it on, we're going to click install. This should just take a moment. This is all real time right now. I will not fast forward through it. So, and you can do a launch. You can launch it right away if you want, which we'll do. So I can, well, actually, you know what? We will not launch it right away. So I can kind of show you. So we'll go ahead and minimize all these. This one, you're going to want to navigate to now your D drive where it's installed, and it created a folder for you. So you want to go ahead and open up that folder, and you only have a couple selections. You either have 32 or 64. These are the only things you really have to worry about. You do have to have these other files in here for it to run properly, but between the two files, if you have a 32-bit system, which most of you probably don't, but if you do, that's the one you're going to want. Otherwise, for everybody else and all the normal people in the world right now, you should be running 64-bit. So you're going to want to click on the diskmark64.exe. So go ahead and double click on that. That'll just take a moment to open, depending on how quick your PC is. And now here's the section where you can choose what drive you want to test. So if you have one drive in your PC, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's only going to have one selection. So if you look over here, you'll see you'll have the C drive right now is selected. It tells you the percentage, how full it is, and all that. So that's great. And then if you open it up, it'll give you a selection of all the other drives that you could test in there. Whether it being a partition or the drive itself. So that's nice. So you can go ahead and grab anyone you want. If we wanted to check the C drive, that's fine. You can change over here. You can change what it reads in, some gigabytes per second, megabytes per second. So you can change that if you want. This is like the I/O is like input outputs per second, but I don't use that. Usually it's megabytes per second is what most everybody keeps it on. So then what we want, I'm not exactly sure what this 1 through 5 is. I keep it, it's pretty standard through here. I don't change anything. These two boxes I don't change. This is the only box I change at all. Now they do have some settings up here that you can go through if you want. Most everything I keep stock default settings. I do not change anything to speak of. So with that, just put it behind it. So with that said, you have a few things that it tests here, and you can go ahead and Google these if you want, but essentially the biggest part that you want to know about is the first two numbers. It will test the reads in megabytes per second and the writes in megabytes per second. Traditionally, you're going to have faster reads than you will writes all the time. It's good. It's a good idea to check the rest of them though. So if you click the all button right here, that will go ahead and start all of them, and it'll check them one by one, starting with the reads and go down the reads, and then it'll go over to the writes and go down in the writes. And what this is really good for, and I want to just talk to you for a second on that, is when you buy a brand new drive, it is an excellent idea to take this type of software, whether it be the software that comes with, like Samsung, I know comes with Magician software that you can install, and that can check the drive. Sometimes it's a good idea to do a comparison, right? You can check with that software compared to the Crystal Disk. And what I'm trying to say is when you get a new hard drive, it's a pretty good idea to go ahead and check the health of it when it's new. Write it down or take a screenshot of it, save it. And then later on, if you suspect down the line, maybe a couple years later, a few years later, or if your PC just randomly starts going really slow, you can actually check it again and compare the numbers. If your numbers are drastically smaller in comparison, you know the drive's got an issue, and you should probably go ahead and replace the drive. It's highly improbable that you have any other issue if it is slower than the drive itself, but you probably have a bad drive. So what we're going to do is I'll just show you is if you click right here and you make sure you're on the drive that you want to select. This is the C drive. I do have a Samsung Evo 370 Plus, or an Evo Plus 370 in there. And this, we should be getting results around the 34 to 3600 in the write, or in the reads, and about 3,200 or so to 3,400 in the writes. So if we click this once, and I'll probably fast forward through a little bit of this so I can, because otherwise this takes about a minute to fully complete with this. But right there, boom, we're up at 3546. Those are very good numbers. This caps out at 3,600. For this hard drive and for the actual motherboard. So those are really good numbers. Let me fast forward to the writes on the other side. And there we go. It's pretty much right on with the performance of those. And I'm not going to sit here and show you the rest of the numbers, but you can go ahead and test out your own and see what those numbers are. All right, so now I want to show you and take you on a little bit of a tour of the Crystal Disk Info. And this is the info center checking the health of the drive. The performance is checking the health of the drive in a sense too. You're checking the speed of it and you can get kind of an idea. But the info gives you a little more freedom, well, not freedom, but it gives you more information about the hard drive, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So if you go back to the download page where we first saw in the beginning there, and you do the quick downloads, you can also get to the downloads through the download tab up top here. But the Crystal Disk Info is going to be right here. You want to go ahead and click on that. We're going to ignore everything else on the page. It's going to pop up with the download right there. And now we can go ahead and minimize this page. We can go ahead and open up our File Explorer again. We can go to our download section. And now we have the Crystal Disk Info. Looks like 8.15.2. And what we're going to do is we're going to hopefully double click on this. We're going to accept the license agreement. And here is the section which I was talking about, which should have popped up on the last one. I think because I was doing some stuff before I was on camera, I think that's what kind of messed some things up for me. But you should see this box with the browse section. So if you want to install it on your PC, you can go ahead and install it, whatever drive you want. If that's the drive right there you want, C drive, go ahead and install it there. Otherwise, click your browse button and scroll to where we got our USB drive, or you have your USB drive. We're going to go ahead and put it right on the D drive. We're going to keep the name the same. Click next. Or we're going to do not check this box here again, where it says don't create a start menu. Yeah, I guess we won't create a start menu. So we do not want to create one. Let's see. And we're going to click next. And this says create a desktop shortcut. Nope, we do not want the desktop shortcut. Click next. We're going to install it right on that D drive. Again, this should just take moments depending on how fast your PC is. This is actually a larger file because there is a lot more information on this. So we're not going to launch it because I want to show you exactly how it functions. So we're going to go to our D drive, and now we have a second one here where it says Crystal Disk Info. Double click, open that. Again, we have everything in here you want to keep in here. I mean, some of this other stuff you don't have to, but if you keep it in a folder, it's nice and neat. And again, we want to click on the 64-bit because that's the type of system we're running on. Go ahead and open that up. Wait for this to open up. It's going to look a little different than the Crystal Disk Mark will. And right here, look at this. A ton of information. And let me just make this... Oh, I guess you can't make it any bigger. Nope, that's as big as you can make it. Okay, so let me get rid of this background. And up top, if we start up top here, obviously you can check to make sure you're running the latest and greatest. I think you can come here to the help section, and you can actually go right to the web page itself, which is really, really nice and convenient. That way you can actually check to make sure you're running the latest. Under disk, it just shows you all the drives that you currently have installed, whether they be USB or mechanical hard drives, solid state drives, etc. You can do themes. You can do some kind of funky stuff in here if you want. I don't change typically anything. Sometimes you can change the color. You can change it from blue to green, or something like that if you didn't like the color. So that's basic up there. But otherwise, right here, you can see that every dot is blue. That indicates from a default setting point of view, it means that all the drives are in good health condition. If they are yellow, that means caution, and basically you want to go ahead and start looking into replacing that drive so you don't lose any data. And make sure you got a backup. You should be having a backup way before these drives ever go. The second thing is if they go red, or that's the other color. If they go red, you probably won't even be able to access the drive. I mean, you might be able to, but it's going to be iffy. So that's that. So when you're clicked, so we're on the A and E drive right now. You can see down here they have letters. And so we got the AE drive combo, we got the B drive, the Z, and the C. There actually is no D drive. I guess it doesn't see the thumb drives, apparently. It should see a USB drive if it's probably an M.2 form factor or some like a mechanical hard drive. It should see those. So with that said, the other spot you can see is it does give the temp. So you have a quick view up here, and then you have the main information down here. And you can see that when it says 99%, that's how much it only lost 1% of its health since this thing's been on and running. And you can see that it's in Celsius. It's 30 degrees Celsius. You can get that quick view again up top. See, the closer, when you go over to C drive, you see how it says 51. It's actually a little warmer because it's actually closer to the CPU, and it's behind the graphics card. So it gets a little warmer back there, but it's still an okay temperature. It's perfectly fine. And the other thing you can find out is you can find out the firmware, you can find out the serial number, the interface of it, whether it be NVMe Express. You can find out the transfer mode, what letter it is, the version of the the solid state drive, which is the 1.3. So, like, if we go over here to the B drive, you can see that the B drive is now SATA. That's SATA 600. So, C drive, NVMe, it's 3.0 Express. So, you can find out a lot of that information. So, and then if you go over here, you can look at the total host reads, being that you have, this is how many gigabytes it has read. This is how many it has written. You can see that I have obviously looked at a lot more stuff than I have actually wrote to the actual drive. This would be if you have a mechanical hard drive. It would tell you some information here. This is how many times it has been powered on. And this is, so in other words, if I shut my computer off and then turn it back on, this count would increase. With the computer on constantly, this is because I leave my computers on 99% of the time. I only shut them down for various reasons, for maintenance, or if I have an issue, or of course if there's a power outage, it will go off. But you can see the difference in there is pretty significant. I don't power them off much compared to the hours. So, and you can go through each drive and you can see all that information with that stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty good information, I would say. Now, down here, what you're going to see is if this goes yellow, you'll see this little dot up here go yellow. You'll see this go yellow. And you'll see down here somewhere, you'll have probably a yellow or a red, depending on the color. And like I said, this information down here, don't worry about it too much. If it's going yellow or if it's red, replace the drive. It's plain and simple. I'm not going to go into what all this stuff means down here, but just know that it's going to need replaced. So that is how you download Crystal Disk Info and Crystal Disk Mark. So I hope that wasn't too difficult for you guys to understand or follow along. I went kind of quick in some certain areas, but I was trying to condense it, make it fairly short. You have the ability to pause it and rewind, so hopefully I did not miss anything in there. If there is a question that you have about it, feel free to comment down below. I will do my best in answering it. If I do not know the answer, I will try to find it out for you. But other than that, like I said, I put them on USB thumb drives. I find it easier and quicker. Maybe not quicker if you're on that PC, but I find it just easier because I have a lot of PCs that I deal with, and I don't want that hassle of being like, oh, well, now I got to download it again, or I have to transfer it to a thumb drive. So I just keep it in the drawer, and I have, a bunch of other stuff on there too. But anyway. So that is it. Go ahead and hit that like button and show me you enjoyed the content. Go ahead and comment down below if you wish again, and I will answer any of your questions. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I welcome you in. And hit that little bell icon next to the subscription button, and that will allow you to be notified of any new content that I post. And also, don't forget to share these videos with your family and friends, and we'll get the word out there and we'll spread it. So until next time, guys, take care.